be a pony show again. Hold on, Leo, look at the studios.
Studios.
Hold on, hold on.
Hold on, wait. Look like a hobo. He's looking for a construction ticket.
We just do it. All right,
Are we laying this over?
this is, yes,
He wants it
just
laid
talk, yeah. No,
this meeting?
no, we want to see it. This is the Committee of Ways and Means. This is Tuesday, April 16, 2019. We're at 6 p.m. I have Council Matusky. I got Council Marchese. I got Council McKinnon. And I have Council Simonelli.
Yeah.
We have 4 members present. We do have a quorum.
Please stand and salute the flag.
Before we start, I received a communication from the mayor that he could not attend tonight on this matter. Could we take the, take items 1 through 5 collectively?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I would like to thank at your request, the Everett Police Department for being here this evening. And we appreciate it, gentlemen, believe me. If I had my way, you'd be here at every meeting. A police officer would be in this chamber at every meeting. But needless to say, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to take items 1 through 5 collectively.
Motion made and seconded to take items 1 through 5 collectively. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Please read items 1 through 5.
Right, these are all resolutions up by Council McLaughlin. Item number 1, that Dr. Reezy from the Office of Organizational Assessment appear at this meeting with any assessment reports that have been conducted at the Health and Wellness Center for the past 2 years. Item number 2, that Laura Webby, the Director of Human Resources, appear at this meeting to explain the management structure of the Health and Wellness Center. Item number 3, that His Honor the Mayor appear at this meeting to discuss conducting an independent operational audit of the Health and Wellness Center. Item number 4, that the Organizational Assessment Director appear at this meeting and provide a list of all employees that need specialized license or qualifications to work in their present positions at the Health and Wellness Center. Item number 5, that His Honor the Mayor and the Human Resource Director appear at this meeting to discuss the next steps to be taken for the replacement of the Director of the Wellness Center.
Both of them come up. Have both of them come up.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a request that we have the city solicitor and
The sponsor?
the sponsor.
Motion made and seconded to have the city solicitor before us, as well as the sponsor of the pieces. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Councilman Matusky.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, this committee knows that this piece was in public safety over a month ago, and it was shifted over to our committee, which is the Ways and Means Committee. And as you mentioned earlier, the mayor has requested that, his request was to,
I believe it's to refer this all back to sponsor due to the fact that the sponsor and the mayor had spoke about this previously. I'll give you a chance to touch on that.
At any rate, there's 41 questions here on this question and answer sheet. Some of them, they've all been answered, am I right?
Yes, they have been through our city solicitor. We have the questions as well as the answers, the legal issue or legal answers behind the questions.
Okay, so I'd like to hear from the city solicitor the position on all these 1 through 5, and then the sponsor can fill us in on what his intentions are, if that's okay.
Before you speak on that, Madam Solicitor, this is one of the pieces I got today earlier. It was from Councilman McLaughlin. Leo, the mayor and I had the opportunity to meet, and you met, when was that? Today?
Can I speak, Mr. Chairman? So Michael McLaughlin, Ward 6 City Council, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having me.
When was that?
We've been having ongoing discussions
Okay.
regarding the matter.
All right. And then it goes on and says, "We are working on getting answers to the questions that I put before the committee. We received those from our solicitor already. Many of them are sensitive matters which legally can't be answered in the public, which I'll let the city solicitor speak on that. The best way to move forward is by referring this matter back to sponsor at this time, seeing that the questions are being answered to the best of the legal ability." Thank you, Mike McLaughlin. Solicitor?
So we answered the questions as best as we could in terms of what we can answer and what we can't answer. I don't know if you want me to specifically address anything in the questionnaire, but, you know, I think that
We can
Councilman
hold on
McLaughlin is
that.
satisfied with.
I think Councilman McLaughlin may have some.
I'll just fill you in on, City Solicitor Mihir is correct that the administration has answered the questions legally, although after being able to talk with the mayor, we've been able to prevail with getting some more detailed answers, and I didn't want to, neither the mayor nor I wanted to continue to have this here and bog your committee down. I know you guys have a lot of upcoming important meetings to be had with budget and so forth. So, and I know Councilman Matusky had requested at the last time that this would be the last meeting for these matters. So at that point, the mayor and I thought it would be fair to the members of this committee that we could continue to work on the 41 questions. Some of them, after understanding Mass General Law and so forth, I understood couldn't be answered. Not that I understood at the beginning, but I understood after the fact. We're going to continue to work on the ones that can be answered, and I think at this time that it would be most appropriate that we refer this back to sponsor so that we can get the answers that I've been looking for and requesting. And I'm happy that we've been able to come to the table, the administration, myself, and work collaboratively. And I want to thank our city solicitor, who has been very helpful in facilitating that discussion and being able to be part of getting some of the answers that I have been looking for.
Just a question from the chair to the solicitor. Will these 41 questions be transparent if anybody wants to come and view them?
It's a public record.
It's a public record now,
Yeah.
so they can actually come and request it if they want to see it or
Sure.
anything like that? Okay.
And-
With the
and-
answers that you provided?
Yep,
Okay.
the administration is being as transparent as it can be legally.
Sure.
You know, that these have been answered as well as they can be. If there are
And in
additional.
a timely fashion, I do have to say,
Thank
Madam
you.
Solicitor. Also, is there a legal issue with this now, or no?
There's no legal issue with,
No. Is there a legal issue that's pending or anything that would be of a sensitive nature to this?
I'd have to go through the 41 questions again. It's been a
No,
while.
I'm not referring to the
Yeah, but
questions. I'm referring to,
Is there a
is there any
claim?
legal action or court actions on the said?
There's a claim pending.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all I needed you to say. Councilman Matussi, you still have the floor, but Councilman Marchese would like to ask a question as well.
I have two questions, one to the sponsor. One of these questions here, 41 questions is quite extensive. I've never seen that happen before. Up to 5, 6, 7 questions, even that's a lot. But there's one here that, do the employees have assigned parking spots? Why would you put that in there? I'm just curious as to, why are you concerned where
What number are you
employees-
referring?
This is number 21.
Thank you.
Now, my concern is that it's frivolous in some of these questions. In my opinion, and, these 41 questions could have been broken down into 5 or 6 in the interest of fairness. Why would you care where somebody parks?
I can answer that, Counselor. The problem that some of the parents were running into was because they're using the school for multiple purposes now, and they weren't sure where the parents dropping off their elementary students could be able to park and where the employees for the health and wellness center were parking, and there was a little scruffle in the morning, and not so much in the afternoon, but more so in the morning, of where employees could park versus where parents could park to drop their children off. That building is being used for multiple reasons, and the congestion, it was actually more last year when there was construction work happening right outside of the old Everett High School building. It had become a really congested area. There was a lot happening, and they were just confused on who could park in what spots that were on the premises, or were they not allowed to park on the premises? They would have to drop their children off out front on Broadway side. There was some issues.
Okay, so you're concerned about parking.
The answer to that, a legal answer was, yes, it's first come, first serve.
Okay, that's correct, that was answered. But you know, my concern, Councilman, is that, you know, you've covered every aspect of the wellness center, not a specific, we're talking about bullyism and people being harassed and so forth. That's what I thought we were at. But you've covered every single thing. Who moved the furniture into the building, who delivered the furniture. You know, nobody's perfect. And, you know, I just want to let you know, I have nothing but compliments on this wellness center. I just want you to know that. It's a money-making venture for the community. Not only that, I think it's $10 a month for a family of 15. The people I talk to really like this place, and they're doing, you know, there's occasions, Counselor, where somebody might not do a good job, and that's why you have people moved or removed. But I don't like bullyism either, in any aspect, okay? And I can see your point there, but to come around and, you know, the whole global thing of the wellness center concerns me that, you know, you're going to find something wrong in every department in this city. And if you want to, you know, and you really could do that, Mr. Chairman. So we're concerned about the bullyism part. That's what I'm concerned about. And my other question is to the city solicitor, Ms. Mejia, Attorney Mejia. 3 months ago, there was no case. You came before the council. So the chairman asked this question. There is a pending lawsuit or some kind of discrimination case now?
There's a pending claim that is not of public record until there's a disposition in the case, so I can't.
So that
talk
just
about any of the
started,
details. Yes. Oh, yeah.
recently?
Yep.
When was that filed? If you don't have the date, that's fine.
Maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay.
So that was after.
Yeah.
My concern is, you know, it was well-known, went on for 6 or 7 months, maybe longer, that there was an issue down there, and that's why the councilman was concerned about what he put on the agenda. So people had information prior to the filing of the, what is it, discrimination case, is it?
I don't think I can even talk about the.
All right.
any
I
of
would
the
yield on
details
any
because it's not a
aspects of the
public-
case.
All right, that's fine, but, you know, just in fairness, the Wellness Center is a success in this community. I just want to let
Right.
the sponsor know, and you know how I feel, Mr. Chairman, on this issue. That is a success. I don't know what went wrong, and, you know, this has to be put to an end. I'm glad you got together with the mayor, and, you know, you're going to resolve this in a different way, and if you put it back on the agenda, you know, keep it simple, Counselor. This 41 questions is over the top to me. I don't want to know who delivered the equipment, I'll tell you the truth. You have an answer for that, and the equipment was delivered to the Wellness Center. And these are frivolous, in my opinion, and, you know, I don't appreciate the time that I have to put in. This committee meets monthly, sometimes twice a month, you know, and we all have lives, put it that way. I don't mind doing a good job, but we can't be doing frivolous things, Mr. Chairman. That's my point.
On that comment as well, the committee was ready, able, and willing to go forward with all 41 questions. It was asked of us today to refer this back to sponsor. I'll wrap it up after, but I still have other
Can I
individuals
just
that would.
touch on Councilman Matusky?
Actually, hold that
Sure.
thought, and then Councilman Marchese.
Just a couple of questions here. If you have this in front of you, number 3, I'll read them out, maybe you can help me here. It said, what efforts were made to obtain qualified employees for the Wellness Center? What meetings were used? Radio, news, publication, etc. And more or less, it says, when a vacancy exists, we post the job in the usual manner. Internet receiving referrals or recommendation by department heads. Number 5, who's involved in the hiring process? HR department heads, the mayor is the appointing authority. What role did the mayor play in hiring decisions? Who had the final approval?
That
The
was
mayor.
number 6, correct?
That was number 6.
Okay.
3, 5, and 6. Okay, I believe something was mentioned at one time that she wasn't the executive director of the Health and Human Services,
Steve Supino was the executive director of Health and
and she was the, it says here, the Director of Health and Wellness.
Yep.
She was Director of
Yeah.
Health and Wellness, and she was paid as the number 1 person, right? Director of Health and Wellness?
Under the Wellness Center, but it's a big umbrella. Health and Human Services covers the Health Department,
Yep.
Wellness Center.
All right, well,
Veterans.
she was up the health service there, right?
She was the Director of Health and Wellness.
Exactly.
But Nick Bertone is the
Nick-
manager of.
And
the-
what was Nick Bertone on the pay scale here?
He's the, I don't know what it's called, manager of the Wellness Center or director of the Wellness Center, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, okay, Manager Health and Wellness.
Yep, that's him.
So he was making substantially a lot less than, if he was the boss, he was making a lot less than,
He wasn't her boss, he was the boss of he's the manager of the Wellness Center,
and what was she the manager of?
Health and Wellness, so healthy meals, the Mass in Motion grant.
Okay, Health and Meals, okay. Now, number 14,
I think children's programming.
after it was discovered that the former director had lied on a resume, why
What
did the
number?
mayor allow her to resign and fire her? On that question 14. Is that the answer? Is
Yeah.
comment okay?
Yeah.
Accept the resignation?
Yeah.
Number 15, does the administration plan to pursue damages against the former employee to the fullest extent?
What damages?
I don't know. It's a
No.
question there. I've just said, she didn't need credentials to do a job, then why did she have to leave her job? That's why I'm just perplexed. Why did she have to leave her job?
She didn't need to be a registered dietitian to have her job.
Okay.
She didn't need those credentials, she didn't need a.
Then why
master's-
did she leave her job?
Because she lied.
On what? That she had the credentials?
Yes.
Then we go back to number 15, right? Return the money because she damaged against the former employer?
But she didn't need that, we're not pursuing damages, no. we're not.
All right. Number 16, please provide a copy of all
Counselor,
applications.
are we going to?
Nope, not
be doing
everyone.
all
I
of
have
them?
just one or two, and that's it.
Okay.
I'm just
if we are,
trying
I
to
mean-
get myself organized.
No, I got
how
it, I got it,
A woman
but-
who's getting paid the most,
What I'm asking.
Isn't in
no,
charge.
I understand. What I got too is, if we were going to continue on and ask
Yep.
a certain amount of questions,
We should
the
hold
mayor would
over.
probably be here for that.
all right,
So-
I'm all done in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions.
ahead.
Number 16.
16, provide a copy of all applications of hired staff. What would take it to verify the information contained on the former well director's application, resume, and to verify her claims? Who went over that?
Bob Dion was the HR director at the time. Lives in Ohio at the time, so, at this time.
Oh, it
so-
was that long ago?
Yeah.
Bobby
All right,
Dion?
now, the mayor is the appointing authority, right?
Yeah.
Now, the mayor
He has a final decision, yeah.
and her and his wife are the closest of friends. Do you know her background?
It's not information that I.
All right, I'm just saying, it's just kind of strange that, I mean, I know
Mr.
that
Chairman, I
Mr.
think if we're
Bertuzzi
going to
is
continue
a...
this discussion,
Counselor.
that you should hold this over and
No,
have
it's
them
the last-
invite the
If
mayor
we're gonna
or
ask-
refer
if
it
we're
back to
gonna ask
sponsor.
more questions, we
as
may wanna
requested
have
by
the
the
mayor here.
sponsor.
One more question, that's all. It just says, what steps have been taken since the discovery of the false resume qualifications to ensure that other specialized employees in the department, in all departments actually, do in fact have all the required certifications? Because it says right here, to continue the mayor's initiative to ensure all employees are properly licensed. But it appears to me that he didn't know that she was licensed, so why did she get the job in the first place? And that's all I'm going to say. I went through this thing here, and I'm reading here, and I'm saying, Nick Bertone, I don't know where he came from, but I know he sure now wasn't getting paid the most here, so I know he's not the boss. And that's all I'm going to add. That's all I'm going to
He's
say.
been the manager since, I think he was hired in 2015 or 2016. He's been the manager of the Wellness Center since
Was he
then.
qualified to do that?
Yes, he's a certified trainer.
All right?
He
Did
managed
they
a
go
gym
through a
beforehand.
they go through a resume and they did everything to see he was qualified?
I'm not the HR
Well, that's what I'm
director, so-
saying. I just want to know, how did she escape making $25,000 more than him? And they didn't check that. But that's all I have to say. Thank you. Don't
Thank
take
you.
offense to it, but this is bull.
Is there any other questions, councilors? Seeing none, Councilman McLaughlin?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to touch back on Councilor Matusky's comment. I agree that Councilor Matusky and all of us have other things to do with our time. That's why I thought it was most appropriate to be able to refer this back to sponsor time, because I think we can get answers beyond these chambers. That being said, I didn't want to zone in on one person or one function of the department. When I put my piece forward, it wasn't about the claims that we were hearing in the local news or whatever. It was about the department as a whole. I wanted to understand how the department came together at the beginning and where we were in a timeline state, so that we could understand how we got to where we were today in the department. I wasn't sure how the department was created, who did the purchasing, or whatever the case was. So I wanted to do it as a broad perspective. I didn't want to put the city in jeopardy of zoning in on one person or one situation. I had talked with our city solicitor. She had given me some great helpful information that I had believed was true. I wanted to talk about the department as a whole, and I thought if we talked about every aspect of the department, we would have a wide, broad perspective of the department. And that's why I asked the 41 questions. They weren't frivolous questions. They were trying to understand a department as a whole. And I think when you look at a department as a whole, there's a lot of avenues that need to be discussed.
Counselor,
I'm happy
have you
referring-
read the answers?
I have read Mrs. Mejia's answers.
Okay.
I'm happy with working with the administration. I'm not happy with the current answers. I'm happy working with the administration to get additional information that the mayor has been willing and able to share with me that is legal. There are stuff that cannot be answered legally, and I understand that from Mass General laws. He is going to work with me to be able to answer additional questions more detailed. I think that will help me get to a solution of this issue. I don't want to take up more time of the committee and ask to refer this to another meeting, because I know you have
No,
more important
that's
things to do.
probably not going to happen.
So that's why I think referring it back to sponsor is the most prudent thing to do right now. And if in the future something has to be discussed about this department or
Then you
whatever.
bring it back?
I'm not closing the door on the fact that it may return at some point to answer a question or get clarification. But I think at this time, most prudent, with other business coming up in the city, we should refer it back to sponsor and let the administration and the mayor work
Agreed.
together.
I agree with that reason being,
Motion made.
because unless the mayor's sitting here with us, going over these one by one, he needs to be here with us.
Can I
So,
just-
I mean, these are nice generic questions, but they're not really getting us anywhere.
Solicitor?
I just want to echo Councilor
Hold on.
Matusky's comment that it's a huge benefit to the city. It's a very successful wellness center. It generates hundreds of thousands of dollars
It
every
does.
year.
People
for
enjoy
the
it there.
program. And the administration is always transparent, and we answer questions whenever we can. If any of the counselors have questions, they can always contact. I know I'm always available offline, and they can always contact me and ask me questions. And Councilor McLaughlin has done it on numerous occasions for numerous issues. So to kind of.
We all have.
To kind of put, absolutely, I speak to you on a regular basis. To kind of try to put a black eye on the city is a disgrace.
It's not a black eye, it's what you wrote right here. Who-
Councilman
who hires?
Matusky? Did you have a question, Councilman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for filling me in earlier today and where we're at with this issue. As you recall, at the public safety meeting, it was a little bit over the top, and it was referred to this committee, and now it seems that the councilman has some answers. Things are being corrected at the Wellness Center. We are going over the budget. Councilman Marchese has
Absolutely.
his budget book open. We are going to be looking at pay scales and all that, and I think a lot of the questions that Councilman...
Some valid questions, according to Councilman Marchese, as regard to the funding.
Funding.
Of this, so,
So I
and
think
pay
that
scales.
Councilman McLaughlin can ask some of those questions at the budget hearing, as far as the pay scale questions that are in here and so forth. But I want to thank Council Mejia. She really put a lot of work into hours of work, maybe days, on answering these questions, and you've done your, due diligence here, and I appreciate that. And I've got the time to be here. My time isn't wasted any time I walk into this building. I did 3 things before I even came to this committee meeting. In the city, I could go on, but I don't just come in here for this meeting. I can kill 3 birds at one
Yeah,
stone.
there you
You
go.
understand? But you know, I don't mind being here. I didn't want you to get the wrong impression. I've been here for, I don't want to tell you how many years, but,
Too long.
no,
Not long
my
enough.
batting average has been good. My success rate has been very good. But the will of the committee is to refer this back to sponsor. Thanking the city solicitor, and let the councilman have his conversations with the mayor. And at the budget hearing, you can bring up these financial questions that you might have, and then we'll go from there.
And I'd also like to thank Ms. Mejia for delivering these on a timely fashion. There was 41. We were ready, this committee was ready to go at it tonight with every single one of these out loud. We were going to read the question, get the answer, read the answer, and go over all 41 with both, if the mayor had been able to come, and also the sponsor, and give them time at the end to actually elaborate on what they wanted to say about the 41. So that's what we were willing to do tonight. If that's what you want to
Mr.
do,
Chairman, let me
there's
just
been a motion, so, I mean.
Let me just
I'm
make
gonna
one
give you-
statement. Just give me 30 seconds.
You
Just
got
to
it.
say that I never try to put a black eye on this city, and I take personal offense to the fact that that is stated. This was not to embarrass anyone or to put a black eye on the city of Everett. It was true questions that I had about a department that I wanted to get answered. And unfortunately, from administrators in the city, told me to write my questions before they would answer them, because there were 7 days they needed to answer them. I just did what I was told to do by department heads. I didn't ask to go down this road. I was told to go down
by
this
the
road.
charter. The
By
7
the
days
charter.
is by the charter.
Absolutely. But I never put a black eye on the city, and I take offense to the fact. Nor do these members have to accept my recommendation to refer back to sponsor. If these members don't want to, that's their decision. My recommendation is refer back to sponsor. You can do what you want in this committee.
Thank you.
Motion to refer back to sponsor.
Motion made and seconded to refer this item back to sponsor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so. Thank you for appearing. Excuse
you.
customary. Thanks. Thank you for appearing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, gentlemen, for showing up tonight. If we need your services again from the good old Everett PD, we will call upon you again. Thank you very much.
All right, item number 6. This is a resolution by Council Marchese that the city explain in detail what constitutes a small business.
I see a gentleman in the back. We can have him come up.
Oh.
Just state his name and title,
Mr.
please.
Mr. Devereaux.
Motion made and seconded to have
Mr. Devereaux, too.
Mr. Devereaux up before us. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Devereaux, just state your name and title for the record, please. Is that on, sir? Just flick it up.
Bernard
Thank
Devereaux,
you.
Assessor.
Thank you. Councilman Marquez.
Hi, Mr. Devereaux, how are you tonight?
Fine, thanks.
Mr. Devereaux, as you know, it's getting to the point in the city where the commercial rates are getting so crazy that they're hurting a lot of small businesses. Do we have anything that details and constitutes a small business? Do we have that in the book anywhere? Do we have like 6 employees, 3 employees?
We don't define a small business here in the city. The state, for the small commercial real estate exemption, they define it as fewer than less than 10 employees in all locations, and that the assessed value of the real estate be less than $1 million.
Do we adapt that here?
That is,
Because that was built like for, say, a 7-Eleven, I can see where that's headed on that thing, you know.
Yep.
But a mom and pop store, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that, it's, I've talked to a lot of colleagues whose cities, not that many cities have it, less than 10, actually use the small commercial exemption. And because really what it does is, if you offer it to one, you have to offer it to everyone. So you could have a 2-unit storefront business that's, the landlord has 2 tenants in. And if both of those tenants qualify, the landlord gets the exemption with the thought that it's going to trickle down to the tenants.
Yep.
Which from, again, speaking to colleagues of mine in communities that do have this, they said that really happens. So it really doesn't benefit the small business, as it benefits the landlord much more than it benefits the business.
Because
Yeah.
anything we can put in place, if I go through the
Well, we track, our department tracks over 1,000 personal property accounts, which are business personal property accounts. Of those, only 351 are above the $10,000 threshold. Many communities around here, including Medford, they tax on anything over $1,000. No, we're talking about the personal property taxes. I was just, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
We're talking on number 6 right now. Thank you.
Just number 6 one.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out if we can find a way to get some relief as well.
Uh-huh.
That's, we institute our own business, we say, less than 6 employees on the books or whatever it is.
Well, you could, that's a law, that's chapter 59, I believe it's section 5I, the small commercial exemption. I believe you could try and change that through home rule petition.
So that would be our own law.
Well, yeah, it would have to get passed through the legislature, but you could try and do a home rule petition to adopt it to however it would like
Counselor,
to see it.
Counselor, could you just explain it a little bit? I was in conversation with Councilman Matusky.
What I'm looking at, Leo, it's like a little coffee shop at, across from the old St. Teresa's. There's probably 4 employees there.
Yeah.
You know, as the commercial rate goes up, whether it goes down or goes up, it's all yo-yo. It's always going to be the same. These people there, you know, they're working, you know, you see what they work. They get there 5 in the morning, they're till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and they're working more or less just to pay
Mostly a family business, probably.
family business. Same as on Norwood Street, that little, that coffee shop there. There's 4 members of that family. They work in between their rent and their triple net, plus obviously the water and everything included. They're not making much money. We may not have a lot of these stores left if we don't react and help them somewhat. Something has to be put in there, give them a break. We don't have to do the franchises. They have plenty of money going around. But when it gets to the point where the people don't have cars, you gotta pay like $4 or $5 for a gallon of milk, then we've kind of defeated our purpose in government here. You know, because not everybody has a car and not a lot of people can drive to the big markets. There's still a lot of people that shop at these little stores on every corner.
Sure.
And that's, you know, that's something I'd like to see if we could put together. I don't know if you could help out in this.
Absolutely.
I would appreciate if you could write something similar to that. It could help. We could go to the law department also and see if we can get it and try to ship it over to our state senator and see if he could do something about it. Because he's also in Cambridge and there's tons of small
Mom and
businesses,
pops.
mom and pops over there also.
Yeah.
In Alston or wherever else he is. I'm sure he'd be.
Cambridge and Boston do not offer it.
Yeah.
As I said, there's only 11 communities, and really none of them are in the metropolitan area here.
Really, huh?
They tend to be small communities with maybe one large commercial taxpayer.
Yeah,
A town like Somerset, which had the large Brayton Point power plant.
yep.
Um,
Well, that city can survive on that large tax
Yeah,
guy, you know?
yeah.
We have plenty of taxes coming in where I'm sure if some could save $1,000, $2,000 a year, it'd be very beneficial to that business person keeping in business. You know,
Counselor, through the chair, what do we have in place right now? Nothing?
For commercial properties?
Yeah, for
None.
these types?
No, there's no exemption for commercial properties right now.
Okay.
The only thing we do have, and we referred to number 7, just to jump ahead, is that about 10, 15 years.
Why don't we read it?
Okay.
We'll do this and then we'll get to 7.
Yeah, I'd like to refer this to you. If you'd want, I'll come up and work with you and whatever you need from me. Try to draft something that we can send to the, and also with the city clerk over there. I'm sure he could help out over there a little bit. You know, the 3 of us, I'll come down anytime. We'll try to put this together and move it on from this council and move it to the State House, see if we can get some relief for the people in the city.
Okay.
Because we're going to have the haves and the have-nots here pretty soon.
There's a law in place which wouldn't require a home rule. It's only if you want to try and structure it specifically for Everett's needs,
Uh-huh.
that you'd have to try and
Well, that's what I
amend it.
guess we're going to have to do.
Because right now, the way the law stands is if the assessed value is less than $1 million
And they all are.
and
You know? Less than 10 employees?
Less than 10 employees at all locations.
Is that the standard across the state?
That's the standard.
Okay.
That's how the law is written.
Yep.
So that wouldn't require amending through a home rule.
Yep. So we could actually do that here.
I believe you could. I'm not an attorney, I'm not a legislator, but I believe it's been done, it's been discussed in other communities.
So what we'd have to do, if you could, we could draft a copy of that state law, and we could try to, and can we pass it for the city of Everett?
Then you petition it.
Yeah, that's right. Either the home rule petition or the adoption of the act, you're still gonna need to take
We still gotta go to, so we have to adjust, we have to do, we have to adjust that, the wording on that, or just try to see if we can take that to Everett?
You could adopt with the state law that's in place.
Adopt it in Everett?
Right. But if you want to make other.
Amendments to it. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Particular to Everett.
You can make changes to it, but you
Yeah,
can't
well, yeah.
supersede the state law.
Yeah, well, which, you know, like, $1 million and 10, that's like designed for franchise at each unit, if they're saying, we're talking about, most people probably don't own the building, so there's probably really no value on anything but the business
Counsel, you
itself.
want a legal opinion on it?
So, just so you understand, so if you have that coffee shop that the family's, maybe it's a 3 storefront building.
Yep.
It's one building. And that coffee shop meets the requirements. All the other businesses in that building need to meet that same
Yep.
standard, be it the state law or a home rule position, in order to qualify for the
Yeah,
commercial
which is fair
exemption.
enough, sure.
So, that's where, from discussing with some of my colleagues, that's where you run into a lot of issues, because, you
Everybody
know,
has to be the same.
finding each, you know, if the more storefronts are, the less likely all those businesses are gonna meet the criteria.
But most of them could still have less than the 10 employees, and I'm sure the businesses altogether aren't gonna be worth $1 million.
Yeah, but if it's like a T-Mobile,
Yeah,
they're gonna have more than 6 employees, because it's all locations, not just that
then
location.
they wouldn't qualify.
Exactly, so the whole building wouldn't qualify.
So what we have to talk about, so if it's a franchise, it's probably gonna be a lot more than $1 million. So any franchise probably wouldn't qualify for this.
Depends, I mean, there are some national franchises in, you know, in storefronts, I believe, that are assessed less
Yep.
than $1 million. I mean, but, you know, you're right, for the most part, a national franchise is gonna want a, you know, higher profile location.
So what would you recommend that we get the ball rolling on this?
Well, I'll be happy to show you a copy of the law.
That 59?
Yep, chapter 59, section 5I.
Yep,
If I don't have a copy here, I'll get you one and put it in your box.
sure.
And that will give you the outline. I can also,
And that, we'd have to adapt that for Everett.
yes.
So the wording would become Everett.
Yeah, and I can give you, you know, Brookline a couple of years, more than a couple of years ago, about around 2010, they were looking to amend it to possibly adopt the small commercial exemption.
Yep.
They wound up not doing it, but I have a copy of that. You can look and see how they kind of were moving things around to try and fit it to their particular need.
Sure.
That might be helpful.
Now, if I have a small business, and I am renting off a piece of property that costs over $1 million, has nothing to do with the small business.
If it's assessed more than $1 million by state law.
The building itself it's
The
in?
building itself.
Not the business.
Not the business,
Yep,
but the real estate, the land in the building, if it's assessed more than $1 million,
yep.
it's above the threshold for the,
I mean, every little bit helps.
yep.
You know, at least we're making an effort, we're opening the door to something to help.
I understand.
And if you could get me a copy of that,
I will.
and I
Counsel,
guess,
Motion for you to refer this
to him and the city clerk.
yep, okay, make a motion, refer to the,
I have speakers on this.
What?
Councilman Matusky. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, the Everett Square, we were talking just recently about the
Rehab it,
revitalization
yeah.
of Everett
redo it,
Square.
yes.
Just on Norwood Street, I know there's 3 vacancies, probably more. The old Kippo store, next to the liquor store, there's some kind of restaurant there that's all newspapered up. And I got news for you. Everett Square, you know, and I feel sorry for the businesses that are there. You know, trying. So anything we can do to increase business in this community, and I agree with the councilman that, you know, but you go to Maplewood Square in Malden, it's a secondary square, it's more activity there
That is it.
than they got in our main square, and we're a premier city very shortly. But we've got to, you know, I don't know what the, well, you got that blight on the corner, the old Bouvier building or the Bringer, and we had people come here, and they drew a scene or a design with the building still there. I mean, you know, I don't get it. I really, how are you going to move forward when you're keeping these white elephants in the middle of the square? You want to see business thrive, small businesses, and it's, I don't get it. You know, the Chamber of Commerce, I know they're as active as they can be. They were big industries here years ago. But, you know, anything we can do to help the small business people like Councilman Marchese. I like small variety stores in neighborhoods. Years ago, there was a couple down the village. There's nothing in that neighborhood now. Down the line, you can't even get a bottle of tonic. You know, in different neighborhoods, there's no stores anymore that people used to go to that he's referring to. But, you know, Everett Square, you know, you talk about anything we can do to increase some kind of decent businesses in the square, I'm in favor of. But,
Absolutely.
you know, thank you for the time, Mr. Chairman.
I have just one comment from the chair. Mr. Devereaux, so if in fact we were to do this, would we actually have to, I mean, some of these places, and it was brought up by my clerk of committee, which is a good question here. If we do this, some of these places lease or they rent from these building owners. How would they get relief from that?
This is the rub. They don't, the credit's gonna go to the property owner, to the landlord. And you hope it trickles down to the tenant.
Is there any way we can make it trickle down by language?
Not that I'm aware, not that I'm aware. This is what, you know, again, this is what the feedback I was getting was that, you know, it's a boon to the landlord, not necessarily the tenant.
To the tenant. And we have a few of them that are actually leasing property or actually, you know, renting property just to stay in business.
As a former small business owner, I sympathize with both counselors'
Yeah.
opinion, and
No, that was raised by clerk of committees, and that was a good, you know, that's a good question there that we need to know. And how we can combat that or actually put something amend into, if we could do that legally, is there a way to do that? To actually see if there's a trickle-down effect to it? Or maybe an incentive to the landlord, hopefully, you know, to do that. Councilman Marchese, go ahead. No?
But it does, I mean, like a letter would have to probably be sent out to the landlord. I mean, to the landlord saying, look at this, you qualify for this, but the money has to trickle down to small
I wonder if
business, you
I
know?
wonder if we need some type of legal language behind that to
Yes, I
amend it
mean,
to
this
that.
isn't just something we can put together. This needs
Yeah.
a lot of work. Because, you know, 4 storefronts, that's $1 million down in the city of Everett. I mean, he's asking $4 million for that piece across from Dunkin' Donuts up here. And that's 5 storefronts. So, $4 million.
Maybe just as a
Is that
suggestion.
523 Broadway?
523, the 5 stores there.
Okay.
The Taylor used to be there. Now it's, the guy that does the taxes there, the furniture store. And
Maybe
there's
just
couple-
as a suggestion, council, have legal in on these
Yes,
meetings that you're gonna have.
100%.
Just so that we can actually get some type of legal action behind it,
Yep.
maybe.
So, a motion,
Motion made and seconded. Excuse the customary thanks first.
well, the motion, well, in case I need some help, the motion made to get a copy of the existing state and see what we can chop and put into that to make it forever and only, some of the language. And then we have to actually, and then prepare it and send it on to the state legislature, I believe.
Recommendation
The reg- yeah.
is to be assessed, so if you would meet with them to get that
Yep.
information.
Let's say the recommendation is just to send it to the assessor.
City solicitor, city clerk,
Yep. To work with the city clerk and the city solicitor to try to come up with something. I'd like to be involved in it also.
Just refer it to him. We keep it back here?
No,
once they come up with
once they come back
Okay.
with something.
So then we'll be back here. Okay. So motion made and second. Excuse customary, thanks. Thank you for appearing
Thank you very
tonight, sir.
much. Oh, wait, hold it, hang on. The next piece also.
Oh, motion made and seconded to refer this to Mr. Devereaux. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 7, this is a resolution offered by Council Marquez, that the city consider change of the personal property exemption from $50,000 to $100,000 to help business in the city.
Counselor, before you start on this.
This has to be amended.
Yeah, and I also, I received a phone call from our chief of staff earlier on this. They would like to see it down there because they are working on something
Yep.
of this nature right now, and they would probably want to concur with you on what's going on with this piece.
All right, so should I leave the personal property exemption as of now on this business is 10,000?
Correct.
That, we passed that probably 10, 15 years ago. I'd be asking, I would like to amend the 50,000 to 10,000, and the 100,000 to 50,000. So the small business, anything under 50,000 would be tax exempt. It's not a lot of money, but it's something.
And
Okay.
and we're going to amend it tonight here, and then
So I'd like to
motion to
put
send
the
this
motion.
down?
Yeah, make it a motion to amend 50,000 to read 10,000,
And then
100,000 to
100,000
read-
50,000.
50,000.
Motion made and seconded to amend this piece by reducing the 50,000 to 10,000 and 100,000 to 50,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? You have done so.
And I believe the motion be made to refer this to Mayor's
Down to
office?
Mayor's office.
Mayor's
Chief of
office,
Staff.
Chief of Staff.
Motion made and seconded to refer this to the mayor's office and also the chief of staff. All those in favor?
Aye,
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so.
thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Colleen, thank you.
Thank you for appearing tonight, Mr. Devereaux.
Motion to adjourn?
Before we adjourn, I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for once again running a very professional and safe meeting here tonight.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? You have done so. That was painless. Hey, when you going to,
We sent it to be covered by all three of